Hey, so how's it going? So I'm finally getting around to talking about something that's really been on my mind lately. I'm sure it's been on a lot of people's minds. And that is our current gas price situation and its potential relevance to our EV future. Now, full disclaimer, I'm not saying that any of this has any relevancy at all. I'm not saying any of this is fact or truth or anything. It's just something that's on my mind, and I want to have an open discussion on YouTube. That's all it is. So for the past couple years, the world has been going through a lot, okay? Now, depending on what kind of person you are and where you get information, the reasoning for why the world is changing can differ. It can vary between person to person. There are a lot of people in agreement, for one thing, and, they can say that there's been an unnecessary increase in governmental control worldwide, okay? And it's really all it's really doing is impacting the lives of just your normal everyday citizens of every country. In this particular video, I want to talk about more or less the US, the United States, but it really can apply to any country worldwide. The increase in government power, it seems, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Of course, the shortage of certain supplies and goods and stuff, I'm sure, definitely goes into inflation, right? Supply and demand. I get that. Simple economics. Well, there's less simple versions of the economics that go into it as well, from my understanding. Of course, you have a big player in that, and that is your United States Federal Reserve, which honestly operates worldwide. It's not just something that is to the United States. The Federal Reserve operates worldwide, and it actually is a big part of how a lot of global markets operate. So with that said, in the past few years, the Federal Reserve and the Treasury has issued trillions of dollars into circulation, which in essence is all it's really doing, right, from my understanding, is diminishing the value of the American dollar. Well, when that happens, of course, then what you can buy with that American dollar is less. You get less for that same amount of money. So that right there has a lot to do with why gas prices are stupid, right? There's more to it than that. You got the ever-increasing just governmental bullcrap happening worldwide, and this whole thing going on over in Russia and whatnot, in Ukraine. It's ridiculous, it's absurd, it's unnecessary, and supposedly that is the big reason for our ridiculous current gas prices. Albeit they are coming down, it's still stupid that we're paying this much when a year ago we were paying a whole dollar less. So they say it's all because of Russia. Well, from my understanding, Russia's gas export is only, or oil export rather, is only like 3 or 5% or something like that. It's a marginal single-digit number. It's not that big. Not like for the US, you got Saudi Arabia, you got a lot of other countries who are large contributors to oil export. Russia's not one of them. So I'm not that great with math, but I feel like it's a pretty simple equation, that you can figure this out, that math doesn't add up. If they're only exporting single digits amount of oil, the price jump in our current gas prices does not equal out to the percentage of what Russia exports. So I really don't think Russia is the sole reason why our gas prices have skyrocketed. Now, here's a theory I have, okay, and this is part of the open discussion I want to have about all this. We have an ever increasing, I mean, it's steamrolling now, push for electric vehicles. Now, I personally don't have a problem with electric vehicles. I don't really think they're an enthusiast vehicle, albeit they can be fast. It just, you know, that's a whole other discussion. I think they're a great alternative, and while they're not completely environmentally friendly, while in operation, they do have zero emissions. So there is that. So with that in mind, I don't really mind EVs, but here is something I'm starting to really wonder. In 2008, 2009, when we had the recession and everything, the economy really suffered. Kind of similar to what's going on right now. Not nearly as bad now, but it was a very long chain of events leading up to it, right? With an initial disaster, and that's of course the whole 9/11 incident, and then it was just years of progression to the eventual economic collapse. Okay, so during those times, Ford took very little government money and paid it back. They ended up doing so by selling off pretty much all their assets. They had majority shares of Aston Martin, Jaguar, Mazda. You had, let's see, I know there was another one in there I can't think of. Volvo. You had Ford, Lincoln, Mercury. So they had a lot of assets that they were able to liquidate. Okay, and that's pretty much what saved Ford back in those times. Otherwise, they would have been in the same boat as General Motors, Chrysler. With that said, General Motors did borrow a lot of governmental money, and in doing so, it gave the government a lot of power and influence over General Motors. So they were a majority shareholder. Go figure, right? Now, the reason why I bring that up is because just recently, President Biden was just ecstatic. I mean, he's, you know, being a Democratic Party, of course, he's pro-environmental friendly solutions, right? I mean, he was so excited over this new 1,000 horsepower EV Hummer and all this, and EV Silverado and our EV future. I mean, he's so proud to say that General Motors, Chevy, they're being forefronted, you know, of this EV future. They're going to have they're going to have like the most vehicles in America that are electrified. I mean, it went on, and then he started getting really excited about Ford. So now you got GM, Ford, two of the biggest American auto manufacturers, going to be the leaders in EV production. Okay, so almost like Ford's like ready to electrify most of their fleet worldwide. Offer an electric version of every car they sell, right? So you have two big companies ready to go full EV. This is where things get interesting. This is where my theory, this thought comes into play. In the last 10 years, you never saw this. You saw a very slow, natural progression as new technologies are advancing. Auto manufacturers are, you know, testing new technology, especially with batteries and stuff. You know, it's a slow progression, but now it seems like there was never a problem, and they're cranking out EVs like it's no one's business, right? I mean, you got a new EV vehicle being announced daily now. And a big part of this is because you have a ever increasing increase in governmental regulation towards environmental standards. This is what I fail to completely understand. You have a drastic increase in oil prices, okay? Speaking mathematically, it doesn't make sense. There should be no increase like it is due to the reasons they say it is, okay? And then at the same time, simultaneously, you also have those same people telling you that the problem is one thing, saying, you know, we're so excited for electric vehicles and stuff, and this is our so the whole point of this is the gas prices right now, will they ever go back down to where we seen them last year? And if they don't, is the reason solely because they can economically push people out of gas vehicles and make it more appealing to go into an electric vehicle? You see what I'm saying? I know a lot of people are thinking this, and it just makes you really wonder because of how everything's happening. There is almost no logical explanation. I mean, you try to put everything together, but there's one piece of the puzzle that just doesn't fit, no matter which way you try to do it. So I often wonder if there is a big influence by these governments over gas prices in order to basically incentivize people to want to buy an EV. Why would I go buy a $30,000 gas car, $40,000, it's getting ever more expensive for even just a basic car, you know, and spend $7 a gallon on gas when I can go and buy an EV for the same money and not pay any gas at all. I know that ain't the full part of the story, but you see what I'm saying? I really, really wonder how much of this is actually true. Now, I'm not claiming it is. It's just a thought. It's just a theory I have. I really want to know what you think. Do you think any of this is really going on? Do you think these governments are doing this, making you want to buy an EV due to the price of gas? Let me know. I'd be curious to know what everyone thinks about this, because I find it very strange, personally. But anyway, it's going to be it for this video. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Share with everyone you know. If you want to see more content like this and you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and keep a lookout for next true car enthusiast videos.